Okay, that was really awesome. And if anyone has any comments, then feel free to turn on your mic. But I think the message here really is that storytelling is incredibly powerful, and we all have those tools. And Storymaps is one of those. That is a digital platform that allows you to spread that everywhere. So really, we encourage you to also reflect on your own story. When you're going out there, you're organizing an entire event. It's worth capturing and it's worth also sharing. And so I think that's kind of what we're getting to. So from here, we'll actually try out something. So story maps can actually be used in various ways. So one's just to tell a story, but I'm going to drop you a link into the chat and put you guys into breakout rooms. And what I would really like is for you guys to go into that story map, and then in your breakout rooms, I would like you guys to present the name of your river, where you're at, which species you might encounter, or one particular species, and what is unique about your home river. So why are you hosting a Home River Bioblitz? And that'll only be 5 minutes. So just do that really speedy. And then we're actually gonna get to the practical bit about creating a story on Storymap. So let's see if that goes. Is it going?
Hi, no one was in my breakout room.
Oh, okay. Well, we can talk. We can hang out. We met at the last meeting, didn't we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Or I think that I recognize your name from were you working on the species?
Yeah.
Ends.
Ah, you wrote an article. You wrote the whale article.
Yeah.
Ah, that's right. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice to put a face to the name. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice to meet you. I'm wondering, are you able to be my guinea pig? Can you check to see if you can get into the link, and then you can map.
And then the link, yeah. And what do you want me to do?
I think if you are able, because this will be part of the Storymap collection, if you could drop a pinpoint on where you're hosting your Bioblitz.
Yeah, I'll just find that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Let me know if it's working. It's the first test.
I think that's it. Yep. I think that's worked.
Where are you hosting a Bioblitz?
Oh, in Scotland, in a little town called Bannockburn.
Ah, awesome.
Where I'm from, and it's a place that normally doesn't get much attention, or like it's just, even from like locally in the districts, there'll be much more kind of well-off places that would get more kind of things. So yeah, I'm doing it here.
Okay. Cool. And are you hosting it by yourself, or with an organization, or with a?
Well, actually, so it's kind of different. Like I'm kind of connected to. I want to connect with the Home River Bioblitz, of course, but I also have the same little funding from iNaturalist that you guys have for Home River Bioblitz. I've got it for my Bioblitz. So I'm making it into a group itself called Wild Bannockburn. So like it'll be ongoing. So giving myself a job.
Cool. That's awesome. So it'll be bigger.
Hopefully, yeah. But yeah, it's really great, like, to be able to connect with you guys, and I love this storytelling, like this seeing like your story map was so beautiful. So I'd love to make one for Bannockburn. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, let's. This is totally an experiment. Having so many people go into one, but I think we can work. So let's see. Okay, I'm gonna close the rooms. I haven't actually counted if it's 5 minutes, but I think about so. Okay, they have 60 seconds. Yeah, I mean, there's so many beautiful visuals and photographers that also go with the Home River Bioblitz. There's a lot to be told. Okay. Okay, did that work for everybody? Just as in.
Yes, it's funny. Ah. And that double.
So, someone talking?
Yes, I want talking.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Hello. So it worked. Okay. So that will be basically all together. We're going to be creating a collection of story maps, and that will be the first story. Jens, do you want to say something real quick before I dive in?
Yeah, I just want to also present you, Cara, because I think I missed that part at the beginning.
Okay.
So Cara also has been working in storytelling projects in the River Collective and also in other shared projects, and her experience comes from the landscape architecture as well. So she has an environmental background. She's laughing, but she also is at the moment diving deep in intersectional studies, and we have been working also in the previous Home River Bioblitz together, but also on collective mapping projects. And in general, Cara has been working more in the storytelling and using the images and laying out and designing the messages. So she's like the wizard behind the nice layout of the work we have been doing in the Home River Bioblitz and also other shared projects.
Okay. Thank you, Jens. I appreciate it. I did not tell him to do that, but thanks. Yeah, Jens and I have been collaborating a lot. So what I'll do now is dive into the creative process. I'm going to share my screen, and you guys can now just sit tight and listen in to the technical stuff. So like every process, can you guys see my screen? Yeah, so every process is a creative process. And where we're at right now, just to get an understanding, is that we have this workshop, we get an input. Then there's going to be story map preparation. So really being able to reflect and giving you guys tools to reflect on what your narrative is and what to prepare before the Home River Bioblitz event. So we will definitely give you a checklist of what that could be, but very simply to think about, this is my story and I want to focus on the species, or I want to focus on the river in its context and its threats, or I want to focus on the community that is around my home river. And to be able to make sure that you make your own checklist of what material you want to cover before you go into the field. So just like any field work with data collection, it's basically the same. We want to capture material. That can be from audio to visual to interviews to interview questions. And then after that, we're going to actually have the story map creation where you can go in and you can plug in that. So we are sharing one channel, and so it's going to require us to be a little bit organized together. And this is an experiment, so we'll see how it goes. Just to put it down into 3 steps, you're going to prepare your story, you're going to go into the field, and then you're going to build the story. in the Google, we have a Google Drive that we've now organized for you guys to start building that. There's one particular document that's going to ask you particular questions. These questions are actually from Esri ArcGIS Story Maps. You can download that stuff. I've simplified them a little bit, but it's really for you just to answer, okay, who is the intended audience? What am I proposing? And does your story have a call to action? And if there is an action, and that can be a petition, that could be to raise awareness about one particular species, or to raise awareness about just in general the river or certain threats. And then you can kind of tailor your story to that. So before you start to dive in, it's really important that you go through these questions. And you can do that as complex and as simple as you want. That all just depends up to you. So I'll dive in now into the actual Storymap process. We have one email and one login. So when you get to the entry page, basically you're going to sign in. You're going to have the River Collective login and the password, and you get the password as soon as you sign up for a time slot. So what I'll do now is we'll actually go into the platform, and I've set up 2 different templates, but you can also create a new story. So before, I'll just go into one of the stories and you can see and start building certain elements. I'm hoping that there is no lag. Can everyone see this? Yeah, okay. So you are welcome to take the template that I've now created for you to make it as simple as you want. So sometimes these stories can take days, or sometimes they can also just take a couple of hours. You can really make it as simple as you want. Up at the very top, there's the 3 most important browsing settings. So basically you'll be in design, in preview, or in publish. So this is your editing phase. So on the left-hand side, when you click design, you can change the very beginning of the cover in 3 different ways. And I suggest, I mean, you really can do it up as much as you want, up to you, but I suggest that we stick with the same theme, and that would be summit, just because we all are going to have very different images, very different quality, very different species. And it's really nice as a group to have something coherent to tie all of those in together. So that is kind of just my wish, because at the end, we're going to have a really nice collection of stories, but that's totally up to you. The other up here up on the top next to design is going to be preview and publish. So once you have already created your narrative and you've gotten to the stage, and I'm not going to go through those questions because you can kind of do that on your own time. You can get to the stage where you now start plotting in a header, a body, and the call to action. So I've set up this template, which basically just introduces your home river. And I've done this as simply as possible, in a sense that you can then change it up however you want. There are various, so basically it's kind of like a mix of a Word document. You can go in, you can type, you can add paragraphs, you can add headings, you can add photographs. So if you see here on the left-hand side, you can click in, you can add an image. And I'll just brush through this first template and then go into one from scratch. So it kind of breaks it down a little bit more. But on this side, we've sort of focused on the species and having sort of very beautiful visual images in the beginning. What's really important is to have not all just huge, beautiful images, but really go from broad down to little, broad and down to little. So what you might want to do is introduce your home river, who's there, which country, how many people, and then maybe particularly which biodiversity you found that's really interesting and why. And you can add that you can add various stages, you can add media, you can add an image here, browse your files, and I'll just do like a couple of demonstrations. So last year, I know some of you that have been last year, these might actually be some of your photographs. And here on the left-hand side, you might be able to write the species name, monarch, butterfly. It's definitely not a monarch. It's definitely something different, but you get the gist of it. What you might also want to do is introduce who is at your Home River Bioblitz. That might be one of your focuses. And in the previous Home River Bioblitz story map, we actually had a couple of different introductions and different people and different interviews. So that's something that you might love to do. And then you can do that through different slideshows. So I will go through that in the next stage, but just as a bit of an overview, you can also add your own maps, and you can do that by clicking into your own maps and be creating a new express map. So in this platform, it's gonna start getting really collated and really crowded with all of your maps. But as long as you just try and stick with one map and one name and label it, then it won't get too messy. Yeah, so at the end you have your body, so you have your header, so maybe about your river, then particularly about a species or threats or about who it is at your Home River Bioblitz, and then perhaps a closing statement and a call to action. And those are sort of like the basic building blocks of what might be a good story for you to start off with. And if you really want to start going for your own entirely different structure, then you can create a new story. So basically, if you want to be able to duplicate the template that's already in there, and let's say you don't have so much time, but you've got some really beautiful images and you've got you've encountered a couple of really beautiful species, you're welcome to just hit the 3 little dots that are there at the bottom, and you can play duplicate. So then it's going to duplicate the story. And what's really, really important is that you then, now it's going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to go back. It's going to duplicate the story, and you rename that and change the image. And that's going to be your story. I'm going to ask and go through a couple of house rules later. It might be really interesting, really curious to see what other people are creating, but we have to wait until everyone publishes their story, because only one person can be at this platform at a time without different editing mistakes to be erased. So that's really important. So if you've created your outline and your narrative and your story, and you want to create your own story, you're going to go up here to the top and write new story and start from scratch. I'm going to quickly ask if there's anyone that already has any questions, or if I'm going too fast, or any feedback. This is the first time that I've actually gone through a technical story map workshop. So if there's anything, then please let me know.
Very clear. If somebody has a question, maybe they also can write it down in the chat.
Yeah, Jens, would you be able to keep an eye on the chat, just because I don't have it on my screen?
I will let you know.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this is a brand new story and a brand new template. The first thing that you probably want to do is create a beautiful sort of header. And I'm going to go, like, once you get all your photographs, it's sometimes really, really important to before you dive into this process, create different folders of where species are or atmosphere and kind of label them, and then you'll start to be able to organize yourself better. That's just a personal preference. What I might do is just reproduce some of the material that we've done in the other story maps. So I'm going to upload a photo here from Berlin, and just from last year in 2020, me and Francie, we did a Home River Bioblitz on the Spree River. So what I'll do as a title would be Spree River Berlin. It would be really great if you kept your title, your river, your creek, your body of water, and then your city or your country. And that will be able to give us some continuity. So that's your first title and your first image. So you can go up here again by design, and depending on what image and what is in focus, you can either change the cover to be something bigger, to be something on the side, or something that's a bit more expansive and immersive. So I like this, and that's what I'd like to go with. So that's how I will start. Sorry, it's quite loud here sometimes. All right, so as we said in the very beginning, it's really good to have sort of your overall header. So it works like Word. On the left-hand side, you've got a little X, sorry, a little plus sign, And if you go into text, you have various different heading styles. So if you want to start with the big heading, maybe we're going to say like exploring our home river. Then you can press enter and you have a new line. And so all of these different elements, they start building on top of each other. And what I might want to do after the big heading, I might want to put a small heading. And I might want to say, you know, urban exploring with X amount of people, blah, 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 blah. And I might want to actually put in a paragraph text a little bit about who we are, what we're doing, what we're after, so on and so forth, and then start building that. And you can always kind of, if need be, you can always come back to this first story map that I created last year, just to sort of copy some of the structure, which you don't have to. You might think this is awful, and that's also totally fine, but it might help just to start to get going. Now, there's the text elements, and then there's other elements that are more visual and more immersive. And that is if you click on the little plus sign on the bottom, and then you scroll down, you have immersive. So there's three options there. There's slideshow, slide cart, or map tour. So in order for what I have done to sort of highlight some of the species, I chose a floating panel, and that then gives you the immersive sort of experience that you can start building up, and you'll start scrolling down. So in the middle, you can add media. You can also even add a video. So if you guys have different segments, different screenings, different whatever that might be, you guys can live in. So maybe I want to sort of portray the first sort of really magical, beautiful berry species that I found. You can do that here. You can click on the little little symbol in the middle, and it's going to show you what the preview is like on different formats. So with ArcGIS, you can, sorry, with Storymaps, you can look it on your laptop or on your phone, on your tablet. This also just depends on who you want to send this to. And it's always really important while you're making the story map to think, okay, what, like, who am I trying to reach out with the story map? And if I want to make something more technical, then those are the technical aspects that I'm going to include. So here at the bottom, you've got then options to create various different scrolling images. So I'll just add one more just so you kind of get the gist of it. You can add as many as you want. I'm actually not sure, but I think some of these get pretty heavy, like especially if you start adding videos. So I would also suggest that you kind of keep it to a minimum about 3 or 4, then it starts getting sort of really overloaded. So while you're starting to build onto your story, you can also press the preview button. And the preview button is going to take you out of that editing space and be able to allow you to see, okay, what have I already started to create and how is that looking so far? So here I've got some of those immersive things, and then it just ends. So that's as far as I'm going, and I'm scrolling up and down. Okay. So now I've done something immersive. I would particularly like to go and do something that has some more text information, just so you don't get sort of lost. So I might add another header, and I'm starting to lose my creativity here. And you can also add separators. So here I might say these are like the botanics, so on and so forth. And what is a really important aspect? Yep, did someone have a question?
Are you talking to, I don't know, what?
No, okay, easy.
Yeah, Natalie had a question, but I think let's wait for the end.
Okay, yep. So what is really, I think, a really good aspect and segment of including into the Home River Bioblitz, and I'll just go that into the first one from last year, and that is the ability to include a map. And so here what we did is we included 40 of the different locations, but what you can do in your own story map is you can actually dive in to the particular location, and I'll give an example of what I mean by that. So if I'm going to go down here, I'm going to add map. Here is going to be the existing Home River Bioblitz map that you guys had already submitted a question to. but we're going to open a new Express map, and that's up here on the top right-hand corner. And I want to get to Berlin because that's where I did my Home River Bioblitz. And we started in Kreuzberg and went down to Treptower Park. So I have my map here and I'm going to press done. And you can then also make it bigger or smaller or more immersive. So you can actually put it here and write some text and say that this was the main location. You can play with the widths, you can play with the colors, you can play with the headings again, and put all your different details, however scientific you might want to do it. The other way that you can then add a map would be a map tour. So if you click onto map tour, you can say start from scratch, upload photos. And if you're a GIS wizard, then you can actually import your own map, but that I'll leave up to you. You can Google and figure out how to do that. What would be particularly interesting for your Home River Bioblitz would be a guided or an explorer tour. So I will do the exploration tour, and I like the grid setting, which was done in the last story map. And you'll come up with just a blank map. You'll click on the left-hand side, and it's going to say add a particular space, a particular pinpoint. And what I'll do now is I'll go and I'll search all the way into Berlin. There's an easier way to do this, I'm sure, but you can just scroll. And I'm going to say that actually where we started here is where I actually found those magic berries. On the right-hand side down here, there's a zoom level and you can add the location. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to add those berries that I had found. And you can actually say where in particular you found those. I'm going to say magic berries. Magical berries. Because what you can do here is you can start creating a map tour of particular species that you had found. So I remember last year in, I think, Carlos, I'm not sure if it was you, but there was someone in Mexico who had found a particular species that was endangered that had never actually been found in that particular place. And this platform gives you maybe the ability to be able to highlight that and to show that. You have also the option to just link into iNaturalist. So you can pick in a button and type in the iNaturalist. You're all gonna have your own iNaturalist page project. You can type that in. You can add that here and add in all the different links and all of the different necessities that you might want to include in whatever particular story you are telling. So I think the last thing that I would like to just show you guys is a couple of the other sort of playful elements that you can do. So what you might also want to be able to do is show maybe like a before and after photo. Maybe you actually have a picture from a particular species from that place about a year ago, and now you can see the difference. I mean, there's all of these different narratives and things that you can show. And as soon as in here, you can just kind of have a play with that. So these are just, I guess, just to show you what is capable in story maps, and for you to be able to decide, okay, what story do I want to tell and what do I need to capture, and how do then I be able to integrate that. So at the very end, what I would suggest, hold on, we have, here. You might want to have a call to action. So a call to action means that you want the reader to leave the story map with a particular message. And that particular message, like I said, might be a petition or a particular event. So what I might do is I'll just go into Save Our Rivers. I know that in the Trumpen Dam, there's a petition that's happening or an event. I might sort of save that image, I'm going to go into my story map and I'm going to basically link that image. And what you want to do is be able to have sort of an ending. And the other story map that we had at the very end, we have not a call to action, but this really, really beautiful drone video from Chile and a statement about how rivers unite us. And that's really sort of what this Home River Bioblitz is about, is that we all around the world with a love for rivers are facing the same fights, we're facing the same threats, and being able to come together and being able to connect. So again, really important is a button, and you can add the link from here and get your audience to sign that particular petition. So I'll just say like sign petition. And there you go. At the very bottom, you might want to add the River Collective or whatever organization that you are working in or is supporting you. Maybe National Geographic is supporting your lunches, or whoever that might be. You can definitely do that at the bottom. You can also write who the author was. You can also write thank you. You can also write your own organization or research group, your own link. So at the end, it is sort of your own piece and your own story. And what we'll do now is, after you can preview it again, and when you're happy with what you've created, you're basically just going to click publish. Now you have private and you have everyone. What you might want to do is first share it on private, and only if you're logged in, you'll be able to see it, but you'll be able to see the finished piece. Once you're finished with what you're happy with, you press public and you publish your story. And what you can do once it starts generating and finishing itself up, you can basically just copy the link in the browser, and then you can share it. Now, and then you can view it, and you can go into Bitly, you can get your own little shortcut and short copy and go for it. So at the very end, we're going to be able to create a collection of story maps. So that's, I think, Natalie, you had mentioned that. And there's an option, once we have all of these story maps in here, you can create a collection. So I've already started a collection, which you go in here and edit, and I'll be editing this part so you guys don't have to see, but just to get the idea of what's happening is that once everyone's done their story and they're finished with their story, we'll have a huge collection of story maps that basically people can go browse through, and we can share, and that'll be really beautiful. Yeah, so that is basically the technicality of things. And I will provide you guys with, once you sign up into a schedule, so what I would say is about max 2 to 3 days to sign up for a time slot. And it's very, very important that we stick within that time slot, so we don't erase another person's work. Because we're in particular different time zones, would be really nice if you could quickly email or in WhatsApp find the person who is doing it before, to make sure that they're not currently in that. I mean, it might be a little complicated, but I think it should be fine. I would just ask you sign in your name for max 2 or 3 days. And you'll get access to that password. You'll get access to the logos, the examples, and the story map outline, which might help you if you're getting a little bit stuck. And I would just ask for just a couple of house rules, and really just to not, even though it's super tempting to not go into someone else's story, just because it get really tricky really very quickly. And please, please, please also don't share anyone's work without their permission. And whenever that person is finished with their work, I'll put it into the Storymap collection, and then you can see it. So, and that'll be public. So that is just because there's 30 of us plus that we're just gonna have to figure out to see how this works. It's really just an experiment. But if you have any questions, or if you want any tips, or if you need anything, you can definitely email me or WhatsApp me. I'm in the group chat. My name is Cara, so go for it. And that is it. Is there any questions? Okay, so there is a couple of questions.
There was a question from Natalie at the beginning of the session, which is about this, if the stories will be forming a one big story or if they will be separate. So what are the...
Am I still sharing my screen? No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
still showing your screen.
Okay. So they will all be separate stories. You'll all have your own story. So you'll be able to create whatever you want, and then they will be into the collection. So I hope that answers that question. You can build your own web page from your own website, Vikram. That's totally up to you. With ArcGIS, you can't link in another website, so it won't be in the final collection. And if you have the skills to build a website, I think go for it. I think this platform is super simple and it doesn't require any mega coding skills or anything like that. So that's what's kind of easy and accessible about this. And question, will it be possible to edit a text once it has been already published? Yes, you can. So when I'll just quickly go back into the projects. You can't see my screen anymore. If you go into the story map that you had already been working on, you go up to the 3 dots, you can go edit story, and you can edit whatever you like. It will stay as raw, unedited material until you press publish, but everything that you do, you can go back and re-edit. Lots of input. Any other questions? I'm going to share this Google Drive folder. Please let me know if you're able. It should be open and accessible to the public. If someone could just guinea pig that for me real quick.
A good question from Carlos.
Can we choose any language? Yes, please choose whatever language works for you, of course.
Yeah, you can also, of course, you can do this.
You can do whatever you want.
Native language. Exactly. It's not.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
Not at all obligation. We are just sharing this possibility because we thought it was beautiful to share each river story. So as long as you're interested, go for it. If you feel it's too much, don't do it. If you want to do it, do it. It's just up to each one. And in the end, I think it's also gonna look really nice, and it's a way to communicate in your own communities the work you have been doing, and also this broader context in which you are participating. Because not all of your participants are also aware of this. They will be at the river, so therefore they can see also like share this feeling of interconnection around the world.
Yeah, and I think also particularly, you know, if you have a hobby photographer in your group and you don't want to do everything, make sure you can just tell your group or your crew what you're after and what you're doing if you want to do that, and collaborate so you don't have to. Yeah, but this is no need. This is not a necessary process. This is totally if you are interested in building up a story map yourself.
Cool. Is there any other question? Or are we here? Anyway, we have the WhatsApp, the group, and we may also write down any question there. Just for you to know and remind you, we still are lacking most of the projects for iNaturalist. So if you have any question concerning that, feel free to write directly to me, Carlos, or Vera. And also next Monday, we're gonna have this queer outdoors and queer environmental movements workshop. So feel also free to come. We will send you an email about that soon. Well, thank you a lot for being here. I insist on feel free to ask anything in the WhatsApp group or share any comment or feeling you have related to this. And yeah, Cara, amazing presentation. That's what it's like. Carlos also confronting these interfaces. You come through really nice with the message. So I don't know if you want to add something, Carlos or Vera.
Not from my side, just added enthusiasm. It's super cool to see this platform coming together, right? And really excited if people are going to use it and to see the stories coming together.
Yeah, Vera, do we want to say anything about making a video and collecting certain footage from all the different places? Will we be creating a video?
Yes, I would say so, right? I'm looking at Jens now as well, but definitely like we had a video last year, right, which captured all the bioblitzes kind of together and trying to get this same message out that was at the bottom of the story map as well. Like we all love rivers and that's why we go out together, and people worldwide are doing this. So if some people are excited to really be in that video and to tell their story within like 20-30 seconds, it would be great if you can go out and even just with your phone, take a video of yourself in horizontal shape. And tell in like as short as possible. I know this is always super difficult. I've been like trying for half an hour to get 20 seconds of video correctly. But to in like 20 seconds kind of say your message about why you do this bioblitz at your place, right? That would be super helpful for us too. And then we try to make indeed one video of a few minutes that you can all share. And this is indeed the video of last year. So yeah, and we had some images coming in, some shots from people that had drones, things like that. Like it's again up to you if you want to share it, but anything you would like to share, that would be super cool because it just shows this like, okay, people are going out worldwide and rivers are just beautiful and we should protect them. So there's this like within this shared folder that we've been sharing a few times, I think, maybe Jens can share it again, but there's a specific folder that we called photos and videos. And if within that folder, you can make your own folder. Sounds more complicated than it is. I think there's already one example of the river in Austria, with the name of your river and the place, and upload any material that you would like to share with us that we can then freely use in our videos and in our communal story map as well, right? So yeah, Kara just shared that folder again. And naming it that way with your river and then the country is just helpful for us to not make any mistakes because we do want to show the information correctly, right? So yeah, I think that's it from my side. Cool.
I just shared also the video, the 4 minutes video we made with the images of all the participants. We also got some interviews at the end of the BioBlitz. That's something also Dimi here was part of that video. And yeah, maybe this year also we contact some of you depending on the river, the season, and if you are available to also make a little interview and to have you on the video. So yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, maybe just a last remark from me, because as you know, this is the second year and this is really an event that is connecting us all, and we would really like to ask you if you have any suggestions or any ideas to do something else, to like bring out the story in a better way. Feel free to contact us because we're always open for that.
Cool.
Cool.
I think that's
Thanks,
it.
Jen. Thanks, Kara.
Thanks,
Super
Kara.
cool workshop.
Thank you all for being
And
here.
thanks. Thanks all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you.